World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
Hello, and welcome once again to another fantastic Tuesday. My name is Tyrone Glover, and I am the Dress Down CEO of Leverage Credit Recovery, and I want to thank you for, again, please use our new hashtag for making time, and it's make time, not making the time, but make time to be in this show. Thank you. Again, happy New Year, happy belated Martin Luther King celebration, happy belated whatever else I missed from the beginning of the year up until now. Happy. Welcome. We know yesterday we got a new administration in, and we're going to give them one round of applause. And hopefully, again, we don't have to go and realize that, oops, got the wrong deal going on, or we can go, dodge the bullet. But nevertheless, we're going to give them their just opportunity to do what they should do for all citizens. But we know the agenda. As I say, this is not a political show, but remember what I say? It's all intertwined. But ladies and gentlemen, make sure you're doing your part quarterly. Be checking your resources. Make sure that your monies are protected. Make sure that you're protected. I was just going over it with my producer just a few minutes ago. If you are unsure, this show and other shows like this are designed to help you navigate these spaces. Navigate and make sure 2025, you shouldn't be out there trying to buy anything. Shouldn't be out there trying to acquire anything. You should be, if you are someone who lives in that marginalized community understanding, if you are someone who lives in that ever-eroding middle-class understanding, if you are someone who makes less than, I'm going to throw it out there, $1 million, you need to be making sure that you're doing things strategically different this year. Wait till next year. Put it off. Again, interest rate is still a little bit higher than it should be. Unemployment is still a little bit higher than it should be. Inflation still a little bit higher than it should be, but new administration is in there now, folks. We're going to still ride off of the Biden administration, but at some point, that new administration is going to take over, and we're going to see whether or not we're dodging a bullet or whether or not we're going to see calamity and catastrophe by loyalists and oligarchs who think that they know it better. But I'm not here to talk about them. I'm here to talk about us and what we have to do moving forward. So, again, thank you for making it out. For those of you who haven't yet chimed in, go ahead, please, and chime in. We are ready to rock and roll, get this party started. And today, what we're going to talk about, we're going to be talking about credit recovery. We're going to be talking about the things that I believe you all should want to know. And the primary subject matter today is inherent racial bias to flawed data, unpacking the problems with current credit scoring models. And this one is a good one. They all are good, but this one is a exceptionally good one. So if you haven't already, make sure that you have chimed in Make sure that you have sent out a request to all of your people who tend to watch the program. It's on. We are live and we are ready, and I'm sending it out to mine. So please make sure, again, you send yours out to yours and let them know, join in the conversation. This is a conversation for all of us. This is something that we all need to have. And yes, our most vulnerable, our youth of color, our greatest asset. This is for you too. So join in the conversation. Our 21s to 41s. This is for you too. Join in the conversations from our 42 up to our 72s. This is for you too. Join in the conversation. And also equally, send out a hello to your friends and family and colleagues and people who, again, could benefit from this information. Don't hold it to yourself. Send it out there, because I'm telling you, they're wanting this information too. They are wanting this information too, and they're just waiting on you because you know how to get in touch with me, but they don't necessarily know how to get in touch with me. But you do. So let's make it a point to make sure that those who want this information and may not be getting it from me, they're getting it from you. Join in the conversation. So I'm going to give you a minute to do that while I talk about, again, if you have yet to see or read my Substack, get connected with my Substack. There's some gems in that Substack that's going to help you with being able to navigate this space more successfully. And the space that I'm talking about is the space that is going to help you. Financial literacy is going to help you becoming financially literate. Just like you become literate in English, just like you become literate in other languages, you need to also equally be financially literate. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a credit guy. I'm someone who understands that arena inside and out. But I had to open up that platform. I had to open up my singular issue of credit and make it more broader so I can speak to a variety of different consumers. And that financial literacy space has filled that gap tremendously. Also, equally, I'm going to emphasize again, this is a financial show, and we focus primarily on money-making matters. But I'm going to have to also stop and pause and say, hey, folks, you need to make sure that you're up on your civics as well. Because a lot of us do not know how this government works. And that's something that's got to change. And also, again, piggybacking off that financial literacy, how money works. And every time I say that, I got to always give that huge, immense shout out to Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse. If you don't know, you now know. And you need to get more familiar with what she does. And she's a brilliant, intelligent, smart, wonderful, beautiful Black woman, first on Wall Street, or one of the first on Wall Street. And what she has done since then has only benefited those who have paid attention. So tune into Access Wealth Nation on Thursdays, same time slot as you see here, but tune in. I'm telling you, you get gems here and you get gems there. So do yourself a due diligence, do yourself a favor, and make sure that you're watching both programs and also watching the other programs that Soul City has to offer as well. We are a station that pays attention to our nation. So I love it. So with that being said, let's go ahead and drive into the subject matter, unpacking the problems with current credit scoring models. Now, you know, as I say all the time, this is going to go so fast. That hour is going to go so fast. And I don't mean to seem like I'm rushing anyone or rushing the show, but it just goes so fast. But if you ever want any of these slides, please send me an email at leveragecreditrecovery@gmail.com. You can text me 805-428-9424, and I'd be more than happy to make sure that you get access to these. This is just information that I don't mind giving out and letting you use it in the manner in which you need to use it. You can't do what I do. The passion, the love, the understanding behind what I do, can't nobody replicate. That's the beauty of me telling you, here, you can have my stuff. It's okay. You can't replicate that love, that desire, that passion for helping others. That's why my birth sign is a Cancer. We are committed to the success of others, and that can't be replicated. So, nevertheless, the current credit scoring system is riddled with challenges that undermine its fairness, accuracy, and reliability. from systemic racial biases embedded in scoring algorithms to the widespread use of outdated and incorrect data. These models often perpetuate inequalities and fail to provide an accurate reflection of an individual's financial trustworthiness. This flawed system disproportionately impacts marginalized communities, exacerbating financial disparities and hindering economic mobility. It's time to rethink and reform these credit scoring models, ensuring that they are transparent, equitable, and inclusive from alternative data that better represents the full financial picture of an individual. Let's move towards a system that empowers rather than oppresses, fostering financial stability and growth for all. Now, take a look at this model that I have here. Now, this is supposedly what is in your credit report. But imagine this right here. Imagine all of these 2%, 5%, 2%, 10%, 5%, 2%, making up the total of what your score and how it's going to be graded. This is a little bit convoluted. This is a little bit crazy. But unfortunately, remember what we always talk about. We got industries and best practices of these industries. Who do you really think those best practices are for? You think they're for us to make sure we, the marginalized, we, the low income, we, the middle class that built this nation? Do you think they're for us? No, they're not for us. And it's sad to say that the business models that are out there are to make sure that they make profit. And as we go through this particular PowerPoint here, you're going to see a lot of information, and I'm hoping that you tune in. Meaning, those of you who are here currently and those of you who might be watching this later, tune in, take out your notepads, put away the phones for just a minute, meaning stop scrolling left and right in whatever directions that one scrolls, and stay focused for the next 45 minutes. I'm telling you, you're going to walk away with some great stuff. So what's in your credit report? 35% of your overall credit report is your payment history. Are you paying on time? Because that's the big thing that they want to know. Are you making sure that you're living up to your obligations? 30% total debt and total available credit. Are you maxing out, and then are you freeing up? Maxing out, freeing up, maxing out, freeing up. And you can see that 30%. So that means if I max out, I have to free up at least 70% to show the industry that I'm doing exactly as they want us to do. But I tell you to bring it down just a little bit further, bring it down to about that 77%. That means you're freeing up quite a bit. And again, it helps with the overall rating, the scoring rating that you need to be getting. So if you take 35 and 30, that's 65% of your overall score, just in two categories. 15% length of credit history. Have you been using your credit effectively over the course of how long you have had credit? Again, new rules, new laws have changed some of these understandings a little bit, but again, who do you think they help? Do they help you, or do they help the business? Sad to have to say, they help the business. 10% credit mix. Are you using a nice credit mix? Now, think about this when you think about a salad. They got mixed salads with a variety of different greenery in it, and then they have your singular salads. I'm primarily an iceberg salad person, or I'm a spinach salad person. So I don't like to have a total mixture. But what I do like to have in my salad is I'll put some other greeneries and some oranges as well. I'll put some carrots, put some yellow items in there like bell peppers and corn. I'll put some more green items in there like cucumbers and the green bell peppers. But primarily a mixture is what you want to have. You want to have a nice credit mix. If you're a single person, you should have something between 5 and 8 credit products. If you are a married person, you should have anywhere between 8 and 12 credit products. Now, again, I said credit products, so that means that you have to have a nice mixture. And what does that mixture entail? That mixture entails some revolving items. It entails some installment items. It entails your mortgages. It entails some utility items. So again, a nice mix of credit products that's going to allow for you to overall get this type of score that you really need to live successfully. If you're at 700, work your way to 800. If you're at 800, work your way to 850. If you're in those top echelons that I just mentioned and your interest rates are in that double digit, You need to sit down with Tyrone. You need to call Tyrone, as Erica Badu has given everybody the permission to do. You need to call Tyrone so that we can help you with negotiation. Because clearly, if you're in that 700, 800, and you haven't called or reached out to your credit card companies or any of your creditors and have negotiated to reduce those interests, you need to reach out because I can help you in that capacity as well. So what's not, excuse me, there's one more item here that I forgot, which is your credit applications. Please, 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 no more than 5 credit inquiries per year. Do not set yourself up and look desperate by applying more and more and more. All right. If your score is not in that 650, 680 range, if you're doing more than 5 inquiries a year, that's the reason why your score is remaining low. And you can see, again, all of these multiple factors. They're adding all of that stuff in. And when we get to the FICO score and the Vantage score, you'll see what I'm talking about the two comparisons and the differences. All right, so you got 5 factors, and this is the Vantage score, 5 factors that you should be paying attention to all the time. Monthly, you should be paying attention to. You should time manage yourself effectively that you can do with your bills in 1 week. 1 week, leaving 3 weeks free from you to ever have to. And then again, you need assistance with managing that properly. I am a time management guy, and I can help you with making sure that you're, 1, again, calling the creditors and negotiating, and also 2, I can help you with making sure that you're managing that financial time more effectively to get the bang for your buck, or as we like to use in the financial world, ROI. You're receiving that return on your investment. So what's not in your credit report? The race, color, religion, national origin, sex or marital status, your age, your employment history, your location, interest rates being charged on your credit cards or other accounts, child support, certain types of inquiries, anything. But again, ladies and gentlemen, these algorithms and these programs that are being set up by Equifax TransUnion Experian, you know they're going to put whatever they want to put in there. They're not going to tell us because why? It's proprietary. They don't want to share. And this is the reason why they're constantly being sued, because their best practices violate the actual laws and the regulations that are there. And I was just talking to my producer and I was asking her, how is it that these companies are still able to operate after being sued so many times? So many times these companies have been sued. Type it in your browser. Type in your browser how many times has Equifax been sued. Type in your browser how many times have Experian been sued. Type in your browser how many times have these financial institutions like Bank of America, like Chase, like Wells Fargo. Again, I'm not calling these companies out because they're bad companies. I'm calling them out because there has been some malfeasance within their best practices, and one should make it known to the public if the public doesn't already know. And the locations that you can go to get this information is called CFPB, Consumer Financial Protections Bureau. All right, so now you know what's in your credit report, and you also know what's not in your credit report that's not affecting you. But overall, this flawed system disproportionately impacts marginalized communities, and again, exacerbating financial disparities and hindering economic mobility. Need I say more? Got to get on point, got to get on top, got to get on point with this stuff, because we can't keep allowing these types of situations to prevent us, meaning marginalized communities, people of color, preventing us from the very understandings that every single person in this nation should have: financial stability, inclusion, and independence, freedom. But in order to get there, you have to tune into these types of shows. In order to get there, you have to invest in yourself to become financially literate. And then you have to start picking up new skills. And one of those new skills I'll be talking about later as well. All right, so I'm just, again, as I said, I hope everybody has done what I asked them to do, which is go out there and make sure that you have sent out an invite to someone to time in. And I always make sure that I do my part as well. So I hope that you did yours as well. You can find us on, again, YouTube, Leverage Your Score, and you can find us on Facebook as well, on Soul City Network on Facebook. That's a Soul City Network on Facebook. Do your part, folks, because we want you here. We want you in the program. We need you in the program. We like to have you in the program. All right, let's move on to that next slide. So, a strong credit score is often the key to unlocking wealth, career advancements, and housing opportunities in the U.S. However, many argue that existing credit scoring models can be inherently biased and fail to provide an equitable assessment of financial reliability. Oh, really? Really? You say what? Credit scores have come under scrutiny in recent decades as critics highlight their accuracy issues and the use of data that reflects historical biases. The scores often exclude certain types of financial data, such as rent. And I'm going to always bring this one up. How is it that rent? They're going to say that you are okay to put your mortgage there, but we don't want your rent. That, for me, seems a bit odd. So they're telling you it's okay that those of you who have mortgages, we're going to make sure that you constantly keep getting a big bang for your buck. But those of you who pay rent, oh well. No, I'm sorry. CFPB, regulators, every single last individual who now is moving into this new administration, I think if I'm not mistaken, is this 119th or 120th Congress? I think it's the 120th Congress. But nevertheless, that has to be changed. Mortgage and rent falls in the same category and they should be seen equally. 50% of your income goes to your mortgage, and guess what? 50% of your income goes to your rent as well. That needs to be changed. That needs to become standard law. What do you think, folks? Let me hear your voice. All right, these scores often exclude, as I said, exclude certain types of financial data such as rent and cell phone payment history. You're paying your cell phone, doesn't get reported. You're paying your, it doesn't, and this is the part that gets me, that heats me so. If you do something negative, they're going to throw it on your credit report. But if you're doing everything positive, they're going to not reward you for that. We got a problem here, folks. We got a problem. And the only way to stop that from continuing is for us to get wiser, smarter, savvier behind the things that we need to make sure is happening. And if it's not happening, what do? We have to make sure it happens. That's just the bottom line. We have to make sure it happens. And if it's not happening, what do? Well, contact your elected officials. Contact whomever you need to contact, or start what I do. I make them pay one way or another. I make them pay. I make them pay with my radio show. I make them pay with my social media presence. I make them all realize we're not the ones to play around with. We're dead serious about making sure that things are going in the manner in which they should. All right, such as we said, rent, cell phone payments, histories, which could provide a more comprehensive and equitable representation of an individual's credit worthiness. By overlooking these payment patterns, credit scoring systems disproportionately disadvantage marginalized groups, particularly whom? Blacks and Hispanics, who are always, for some strange reason, why are we always fighting with each other? Why is it that the marginalized are always at each other's throats? Why? It seems like these companies must want that. They must want us at each other's. They must want us to make sure that we're not benefiting. And I don't understand what the reason behind that would be. So somebody, please, you're smarter than me, Equifax Transient Experience, according to how you present our information. You're smarter than me, CFPB, FTC, Federal Trade Commission. You're smarter than me, regulators, so-called regulators, and all of you who are overseeing this process. How is it that you haven't yet realized that 60 to 70% of the overall population has not and will not benefit by certain understandings that you refuse to address? Got to get better at that, particularly Black and Hispanic consumers who might otherwise demonstrate strong financial responsibility. I don't know too many people who are not going to pay their rent. I do not know too many people who would say, hey, you know what? You know, that rent stuff, no, I'm not going to pay that this month. No, I don't know too many people who are willing to say that. But I know a lot of people who would say, if that were to show up on my credit report, it would help me out tremendously. So CFPB, while you're out doing whatever it is that you're out doing, suing all of these companies, taking in billions of dollars, because anyone can go to your website and see what you're doing, where's the ROI for us? Where's the return on our investment for us? Come on now. I could go on and on and on, but I can't because, as I told you, these shows go real quick. By overlooking these payment patterns, credit scoring systems disproportionately disadvantage marginalized groups, particularly Black and Hispanic consumers who might otherwise demonstrate strong financial responsibilities. This exclusion not only perpetuates systemic inequalities, but also limit opportunities for those communities to build wealth and access better financial products. Addressing these shortcomings is vital to creating a more inclusive and fair financial system. Not that hard. It's really not that hard. Data reveals a stark disparity in credit scoring amongst racial and ethnic groups, underscoring systemic challenges in financial equity. More than 1 in 5 Black consumers and 1 in 9 Hispanic consumers have FICO scores below 620, compared to just 1 in 19 white consumers. This figure highlights the urgent need to address structural barriers and inequalities that contribute to these significant gaps in financial health and access to opportunities. Facts, ladies and gentlemen, facts, not fiction, but facts. All right. Additionally, concerns highlight the limited availability of public credit scoring models, which restrict transparency and consumers' understandings. My apologies. Furthermore, the misuse of credit scores for non-financial purposes such as employment decisions, raises significant ethical and practical issues, as these scores often fail to accurately reflect an individual's qualifications or characteristics in such contexts. They should not be on your applications. The questions should not even be there. But here's the caveat to that. Here's the mind-blowing piece. It's still there. And a lot of you either say yes, and then they find out through a means in which they should not be finding out that your credit is not as ideal as it should, or you don't answer the question and then you don't get the job. A double-edged sword. It shouldn't even be there. And employers should be held accountable for making sure that those questions that have anything to do with financial understanding, unless you're working in a bank or unless you're working in wherever it may be that has to deal with that much or an amount of cash that might put the institution or you in a compromising situation, there's no need for it to be there. But it's there, and we keep asking why. So here's the breakdown of, you have a Vantage score and you have a FICO score. So I'm going to read this really quick, how discrimination shapes the data behind model credit scoring. So you have 2 types of scores here. You have your Vantage score and you have your FICO score. Vantage is something new that was created by, guess who? Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. FICO was the first scoring model, and that's Fair Isaac. Both Fair and Isaac are individuals, and it's Fair Isaac Corporation. All right, so these 2 scores are inherently different, and you can see based off of their scoring models what they use. Credit scores, which range from 300 poor to 850 excellent, play a critical role in determining the financial credibility. While lenders may use their own proprietary scoring models, the 2 most widely recognized and utilized are the FICO score and the Vantage score. The FICO score, developed by Fair Isaac Corporation, has long been the industry standards. The Vantage score, created collaboratively by the 3 major credit bureaus. And these are not bureaus. I like to leave the words in there so that I can always emphasize the fact, that these are not bureaus. They're not connected to the United States government. These are for-profit entities. For-profit entities. That means they are businesses that are part of either the NASDAQ, the Dow, the S&P, where individuals get to invest in these companies. And sad to have to say, a lot of our elected officials across all 50 states, they're invested in these companies. So how is it that there's no conflict of interest if you're invested in a company that you're supposed to be regulating? This is where the problem therein lies. It's not just Republicans are all about cruelty and Democrats are all about mixed messaging. Both of them are all in the same hat. Again, left wing, right wing, still part of the same bird. Need I say more? All right, so this one, Vantage, was created collaboratively by the three major credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, offering an alternative perspective on credit worthiness. Using these models is essential for managing and improving your financial health. But you have to know what goes into it. We talked earlier about the FICO score, remember, 30%, payment history 35, utilization 30, credit mix 10, length of credit 15, and the new credit 10. So all in all, that's 100%. But look at the Vantage score. Vantage score does things a little bit differently. All right, they're looking at your payment history at 40. So you got to be making sure you're paying. And the thing is, you never know who is doing what when you apply. So they got you there anyway. We don't know if Equifax is using Vantage or FICO. You don't know if TransUnion is using Vantage or FICO. You don't know if Experian is using Vantage or FICO. So you're always left in the dark. And that's why I'm telling everybody for this year, do not go out asking for no credit. Just like I'm telling everybody, also, don't go shopping. We want to send a clear message to these industries out there. Boycott them. We did it back in the 60s. We did it back in the 50s. We did it during the civil rights. We had no problem. Why do we have a problem today? Why? We're so afraid. We're scared. We live in a perpetual state of fear. That's why we have at-will states. That's why we have individuals who work in states that they can be fired at will, because we've given up already too much of our liberties, and now we don't even know how to even start to begin to regain them. So, nevertheless, these are some of the things that we have to make sure we're doing. So, FICO, and now the Vantage score, 40% payment history, 21% age and type of credit, 20% percentage of credit limit used, 11% total balance, 5% recent credit behavior. So they're really taking it further. And are they using this model to help you, or are they using this model to help their business? I can tell you right now, it's to help their business. Because why? Because, as I said, these are for-profit industries who make nothing but errors after error after error after error after error after error. We have to do a better job. And the only way to do a better job is to make sure that every single month you are cutting out one day of your month to make sure that your credit profile is exceptional and it represents who you are. And if you're not, please, I'm asking you, call me. I can set out a time, and you can set out a time to make sure that you're doing what you need to be doing. And as I tell my students, stay consistent on it. That's all. One day out of the month, out of 25, it's going to be out of 28, 29, depending on the leap year, out of 30 or 31. You mean to tell me you can't make time one day? Then you don't want the success. You don't want to have the stability of freedom, financial independence, to become financially literate. If you do, make that one day, and I'll help you with the time management piece if you need. All right, so you can see the difference between the two. They're also asking you to keep it simple. Use consumer credit modeling or monitoring to keep an eye on your credit reporting for inaccuracies, new accounts, and to protect you from identity theft. You're not watching, and then you want to go apply for something 6 months later or a year later or 2 years later or 3 years later, and then you come to find out that your credit has been damaged because somebody else, well, now they have Norton who's protecting your credit. Now they have another company out there who's protecting your credit. How about you protect your credit? How about you do your due diligence? But if you're that type of person and you might be too overwhelmed at how to do it, great. Go out there and get those services. I applaud you for doing it, but get in front of it. Let's be more proactive than reactive. If you're trying to get approval for a home, loan, or auto, use myfico.com to check your score or let your lender pull your credit. Be careful again. If someone's pulling your credit, always ask, is this a hard inquiry or a soft inquiry? I just learned that a lot of now car dealers, the ones who have been ruining credits for God knows how long, now all of a sudden, no impact on your credit. I wonder why. I'm not going to give you away the secret today, but I will tell you why. All right, so as you can see, the FICO scoring model has five factors to determine. The Vantage credit scoring has 6. So again, it's important to know which credit model they're going to be using. Today's FICO considers payment history, amounts owed, length of credit history, new credit, and the credit mix in its model. But this data may be influenced by generational wealth, which many Black and Hispanic borrowers do not equally have access to. All right. We're often told to stop talking about history, but history won't stop talking about us. The data used in current credit scoring models are not neutral. It is a mirror of inequalities from the past. By using this data, we're amplifying these inequalities today. It has striking effect on people's life chances. So we really have to understand these models, and we have to question whether or not these models are truly giving a representation of all of the overall population. And clearly you can see it's not. The lasting impact on housing discrimination on Black Americans. Home ownership has long been one of the primary pathways to building generational wealth in America. However, for Black Americans, systemic barriers rooted in discriminatory policies like redlining has historically obstructed access to these critical wealth building opportunities. Redlining and appalling practice that denied financial services, including mortgage, to people based on race or geographic location, ensured that Black families were excluded from the housing market and then extended the opportunities to accelerate and transfer wealth. So by removing us from that, obviously we fell into the rental space and not getting the bang for our buck for renting someone else's property or using someone else's facilities in their buildings. We still were not able to capitalize off of the credit reporting that should have come with it because we were not owners. So there was a big, huge disparity there. Huge. And we're now in 2025 and we need to close that gap. So Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, CFPB, FTC, regulators, we're going to be watching extremely closely now that there's a new administration in to make sure that you're doing what you need to be doing. And if you're not, again, just like you created your own scoring, we can create our own scoring. So think that you got one leg up when you just more or less told us, well, you don't want to do business with us anyway. So why should we want to do business with you? Reverend Al said it the best. We don't need you. Thank you, Reverend Al. We don't need you. We just need you to get up off our necks. One of the most glaring examples of this discrimination lies in the unequal access to the benefits of the Servicemen Readjustment Act of 1944, commonly known as the GI Bill, or readjustment, sorry. This landscape legislation was designed to elevate returning service members by offering benefits such as higher education funding, housing loans, and unemployment assistance. However, millions of Black service members, despite their eligibility and sacrifice, were systemically denied these benefits. I just got to pause when I hear that, because as a serviceman, I stayed in Germany. So me not having access to those understandings was because I lived in a different country. So I completely understand that. But if I had come back to the United States and I were equally denied, oh, there would have been a problem. But this is the problem that we have. Instead of researching and going out and enforcing that we get these services, what do? We get mad, we get upset, and then we become disgruntled. And then we fall into the circumstances of what transpired over the last election, where somebody taps into our grievances. And then we vote for a person who doesn't have our best interest, meaning the overall society's best interest at hand. And we're getting ready to play that out as we go through this next administration. So Black veterans often encountered bureaucracy, resistance, or outright denial when they brought the GI Bill housing benefits, effectively excluding them from opportunities that their white counterparts readily accessed. I'm not making this up. I wish I could. I wish I could be someone who loves to talk about fake news like some of those news stations out there. This is factual information. Do your homework, folks, because I do mine. Before I put anything out there, I do mine. And I'm asking you, you don't have to believe what's coming out of my pie hole. Do your own homework. Do your own homework. Research my research. And you're probably going to find out, wow, this guy is really on point. All right. For many white service members, the GI Bill facilitated home ownership, enabling them to purchase affordable homes that could later be passed down to their children. These homes often became a foundation for generational wealth, as the equity and financial stability derived from the home ownership bolstered their family financial futures. Meanwhile, Black families deprived of the same opportunities were left to navigate a deeply inequitable system, furthering entrenching the racial wealth gap. The financial ripple effect from these discriminatory practices are profound and enduring. Generations of Black Americans have been denied access to wealth building advantages from home ownership, directly shaped the trajectory of their financial lives and limiting the economic mobility of entire communities. If you're not seeing it today, what are you looking at? What have you been paying attention to? Addressing these inequalities requires both a reckoning with this history and a commitment to dismantling the systemic inequalities that persist today. Our service members are being harmed. We, the consumers, are being harmed. While, again, and I keep saying it over and over and over, this is not a racial conversation. This is a have and have not conversation. And that's how we should be looking at it. We should stop falling victim to the oppressors when they keep talking about something that has absolutely nothing to do with what we really should be focusing on. They want us to look at the other. This system of the othering is what's creating more of a gap between the financial understandings that we should have. And that's why I'm so grateful and so honored to be doing what I do, which is making sure that we as individuals of color, that we as marginalized communities now have a voice, a person, an authority who can speak as eloquently as need be to make sure that we continue moving forward. Because the jig is up, folks. I told everybody, I'm going to constantly keep telling everybody, the jig is up. We don't want your ill-gotten gains. We don't want anything that you have acquired. You got it. It's yours. But moving forward, you can guarantee, we're going to be paying attention, close attention to this administration and close attention to these elected officials that will be now in power. Just like you got there, we can remove you also. It's time to get on board, folks. Time to get on board. All right, so rent and utility essentially data points for modern credit scoring models. Rent payments could play a transformative role in boosting the credit scores of Black and Hispanic consumers. This issue is practically, urgent as the home ownership gap between Black and non-Hispanic whites households remains stark. As of 2025, the Black home ownership rate lingers at approximately 44%, significantly trailing the 74.5% rate of non-white Hispanic households. That is, again, alarming. A gap that reflects deep-seated systemic inequalities. Deep-seated. So this hasn't been going on for just the last 4 years. It hasn't been going on for the last administration and the previous administration and the one before that. This has been going on for as long as as long as I've been on this planet, and if not even further or longer. Credit scoring models contribute to the disparities by prioritizing homeowners' mortgage payments while largely ignoring rental payment histories, despite both being housing-related expenses. So you include one and you exclude another one, where 60 to 70% of consumers and citizens reside in that space. So you're going to exclude them. And then they're going to wonder why they don't have the opportunities, because you're going to keep promoting this falsity out there that it's the Black, or it's the light skin, or it's the curly hair, or it's the bald hair, or it's the straight hair. You're using the exact same thing that I keep telling everybody to go back and take a look at. The Willie Lynch letters, Making of a Slave. Look at those and watch how you can see the correlations between industries and that playbook. Industries and that playbook. You think people make a playbook to not use it? They made a playbook to use it and better it and then extend it out to other industries so they can use the exact same thing. The oversight disproportionately impacts Black consumers, many of whom are renters, further entrenching financial inequalities, including rental payments in credit scoring models can be a critical step toward leveling the playing field, expanding access to credit, and helping close the racial wealth gap. Not hard at all to do. It's the will to want to do. That's the hard part. Even individuals facing significant disadvantages consistently manage to pay their rent, highlighting the need for credit scoring companies to adapt a more inclusive approach. To promote fairness, these companies should identify what matters most to consumers and develop systems to track these essential payments. This could include rent or even a cell phone bill, underscoring the importance of broadening the matrix used to access creditworthiness. Everything that you pay, everything that you give out in the form of some type of exchange, lending, or regardless, should be included in the models. And if they can't do it, ladies and gentlemen, we have to do it. And there's a method that's going to come up here pretty soon that you may want to be focused on. So, errors in credit reports disproportionately impact on Black communities or consumers and communities. Your credit score is managed by, again, I said it earlier, a private, for-profit, publicly traded company. Who do you think their interest is going to be tailored towards? Their bottom line, not yours. Whose primary goal is to generate profits, often at the expense of consumers. These credit bureaus, again, not bureaus, these are for-profit agencies. They have nothing to do with the government. They only associated themselves with that name so that it could scare people to thinking, oh, if I don't do what they're saying, I'm going to get in trouble by the government. No, they have nothing to do with the government. Nothing. So these credit bureaus are not legally required to ensure complete accuracy in their reporting. That's the same thing like businesses. Businesses can use bait and switch all the time. There's something in the business practice model or the best practice model that allows for them to do that. Bait and switch, which results in a significant number of errors that can negatively impact consumers. Today's credit reporting bureaus make a tremendous amount of mistakes at the consumer's expense. Equifax TransUnion Spirit, 1 in 5 Americans have a mistake on their credit report. However, under the Federal Fair Credit Reporting Act and credit bureaus and the companies providing your credit information, such as Visa, Old Navy, or Verizon, are required to investigate and correct any inaccuracies upon being notified. So you have to do a better job at making sure we have all the regulations, all of what you need. You can do it on your own. If you go to Facebook, if you go to YouTube, you'll find a variety of different individuals, content providers who are already offering these services. And also, again, make sure you do your due diligence before you give anyone any money. There is a new law out there that they have to provide the service before you pay them. All right. This law empowers consumers to challenge errors and demand fair reporting, making it essential to review your credit reports regularly and address discrepancies promptly. If you are not checking your credit report, it is still available to you on annual credit report weekly. That's the one thing that has not changed, and I am grateful to the Biden administration, and I'm grateful to and again, I don't like to give this man nothing, but I am grateful to the fact that the criminal in chief has also extended the privilege of leaving it weekly. But we'll see what the criminal in chief will be doing as time goes on. Well, should I say convicted felon in chief. All right, establishing a public credit scoring agency, a path to greater equity and fairness. I think this would be a beautiful thing to do. Critics argue that the 3 credit reporting agencies has effectively created an oligarchy, excuse me, that's a challenging word, leaving consumers with little to no control over how their data is managed or which companies access it. Consumers are also powerless to choose which credit reporting agency is used when entities request their credit reports, even if discrepancies exist in one of the agency's records. Imagine being forced to compete in a race with a bike that has a flat tire. It's the only option available, and you're required to participate. Similarly, if errors on one credit bureau reports are negatively impacting your score, you're stuck with the consequences, with no authority to select a different bureau or scoring model. This lack of consumer choice and accountability underscores the urgency or the urgent need for systemic reform in the credit reporting industry. Public credit scoring agency. That would solve so many problems. Now, clearly, proper oversight, clearly making sure that things are being done correctly, that would even make it that much more effective. But do we have the will to want to do that? Strategies to enhance credit opportunities and quality of life for Blacks and Hispanic communities. And I know we are about 6 minutes away. So again, I'm not going to rush through this. I'm going to give you more than enough time, and we'll get through it. All right. But if you have any questions, if you have anything that you want to pose, please go to the Facebook area of where you can drop in a question really quick. You can go over to the YouTube space where you can drop in equally a question if you deem it necessary. But thank you for chiming in, for giving me part of your afternoon so that we can go over this most vital information. So addressing systemic disparities between Blacks and white consumers represents a monumental opportunity to strengthen the economy and foster equality. Eliminating these disparities could add an astonishing $2.7 trillion You don't have to cut anything, Doge, Elon Musk, and Vivek Ramaswamy. You don't have to cut anything. Include these citizens. You don't have to cut nothing from services. Include, and also make sure you're taxing yourself. The rich, the oligarchs who are getting ready to now try to strip away services when we are identifying right here, right in front of you, where you can free up 2.7 trillion to national income, contributing an additional 0.2% to annual GDP, a transformative impact on economic growth. Expanding housing credits access to Black borrowers would have empowered 770,000 additional Black owners, driving 218 billion in home sales and fostering generational wealth for families and communities long excluded from these opportunities. Ensuring fair and equitable access to business loans for Black entrepreneurs could have unleashed, again, $13 trillion in business revenue, generating 6.1 million new jobs annually. Come on now, folks. Really? This would not only uplift Black-owned businesses, but also fuel innovation and economic vitality across the nation. Investing in equity is not just a moral imperative, it is an economic catalyst that benefits everyone. So here are some steps to how to take action on credit errors within your credit report. Credit scoring models have made progress, but still fall short of ensuring fairness for all consumers in every situation. This is why it's critical for individuals to actively monitor and verify the accuracy of their credit data. Currently, you are entitled to free weekly access to your credit reports from Equifax Transient Experian by using, as I said, Annual Credit Report, a valuable tool to safeguard your financial health. If you identify an error on your credit report, act swiftly to dispute. Dispute is a challenging word. I say challenge, not dispute. According to the FTC, which is the Fair Trade Commission, disputes should be submitted in writing to both the credit bureau and the original source of the error. For instance, if you've consistently made on-time loan payments, but your credit report accurately reflects a late payment, contact the reporting bureau and your lender immediately to correct this mistake. Proactive steps like these help protect your credit score and ensure it reflects your true financial behavior. Ultimate Guide to Credit Reporting Agencies, what you must know to take control of your financial future. Credit reporting plays a critical role in shaping decisions that directly affect your financial and personal life. Businesses use them for pre-employment screening, loan approvals, credit card eligibility, rental agreements, and even insurance premium calculations. Given this significant impact these decisions can have, ensuring your credit report is accurate is more than just important. It's essential. Okay, essential. Even mirrored errors can result in costly setbacks, missed opportunities, and increased financial burdens. Safeguarding the accuracy of your credit report isn't just about protecting your present, it's about securing a stable and prosperous future. Essentially, insights into credit reporting agencies. Many people are familiar with the big three credit reporting agencies. Again, bureaus here, agencies, Equifax, Transient Experian. But did you know there are many more credit reporting agencies, CRAs, that play a significant role in managing and sharing your financial data? To help you navigate this complex landscape, we've compiled a comprehensive list of CRAs, including their contact data such as phone numbers, mailing addresses, and websites. Understanding these agencies and how to reach these empower you to take better control of your credit profile and financial future. But what I like to tell people is this list is so astronomical This list is crazy. National credit reporting agencies. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's where it gets disturbing. Employment screening. Come on, folks. Really? Look at all of these agencies that you would have to go to make sure that you are not on any one of, because you don't know which one of these that your employer might be using. Look at this one here, tenant screening. Scandalous that you got to go through all these individuals to first find out, do you have anything as a negative that might be showing up on your credit report because of maybe you not doing it, but somebody else identity theft. Bank checking and bank screening. Personal and property insurance. Low income and subprime mortgages. Supplementary alternative credit reports. Come on now, really? Really? Imagine having to look through every single one of these to make sure things are correct. And why? Why do we need to have that many? Why do we need to have that many? But if you, as I said, you want to know what these are, by all means, reach out to me. Do you have any questions, folks? Let's discuss, because we got this. We got this. I'm wrapping this up. I want to thank you. Do you have any questions, folks? If you do, please send them to us at our website. At our email. Our website is now being generated, but our email is leveragecreditrecovery@gmail.com. Our website for now is Linktree. Linktree. Go to Linktree and type in Leverage Credit Recovery. Linktree, type in Leverage Credit Recovery. It's going to have a plethora of information there for you to sort through and eventually get to us. And as I said, send me an email, leveragecreditrecovery@gmail.com. And our phone number, send me a text, call me up, call Tyrone, 805-428-9424. Ladies and gentlemen, as I always said, thank you. These shows go so quick, and I love what I do. And when you love what you do, it has never worked. So I wish you all a wonderful evening. Congratulations to the new administration coming in. I'm going to say one thing and one thing only about them. If they do the right things, we can go dodge the bullet. But if they don't, told you so. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you, and be safe, America.